Ooh. Hey guys, it's Sam and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. As I pull my microphone out of the stand, we're here to talk about Bound for Glory. Nice Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory was a pretty good show. I enjoyed most of the show. I'll let you know what I didn't like too much. But for the most part, I did enjoy most of tonight's show. And I want to thank everybody who is here with us, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. Remember, if you're here on Twitch, you can help us out in a couple of different ways. Either by hitting that donation button down below under the video, or giving a bit donation here on Twitch, or with your subscription. And you can subscribe one of two ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or for free with Amazon Prime, because if you have Amazon Prime, like I stated yesterday, not only can you watch the new Borat movie, but you can also subscribe to any one Twitch channel that you see fit with Prime Gaming. And we would greatly appreciate it if you guys helped us out here on twitch.tv/PWUnlimited, because for the foreseeable future, probably till the end of 2020, or at least up till Christmas time, all the money we do make here on Twitch will go into a fund to help out families that have been impacted by the Creek Fire here in Central California. We want to help out these families that I know personally. I know one family that lost their home, and a few other families, like I've stated before, that are displaced and have to live with family members that don't live in their home. They have to live about 30 minutes away, some 45 minutes away, with family, and all their stuff is still back there, and they don't know when they can get back because the fire is not fully contained enough for them to return home. And some of them I know have really young children, and I want to make sure that Santa Claus comes for them, no matter if they're at their house or if they're at their grandparents' house or their aunt or their uncle's house. And some of these families that I know may not be able to have a great Christmas. But one of the things that I want to do is raise the funds to help these families have a good Christmas, especially the ones with younger kids that don't want to be disappointed with Santa not coming. So again, everything we do make here on Twitch for the foreseeable future will go into helping these families that have been displaced by the Creek Fire. But with that, we are here tonight to talk about Bound for Glory. If you want to be part of the show, remember you can text in to 510-906-1341. Again, the number is 510-906-1341. So I did not see the pre-show match or the kickoff show match, whatever you want to call it, the Countdown to Glory match. But I do know that the Rascals did defeat the Deaners. Again, I did not see that match, so I can't really talk about it. What I did see was The Rock induct frickin' Ken Shamrock into the Impact Hall of Fame. The Rock said that he shared the ring with many different people, but one man that he owes a lot of debt and gratitude to is Ken Shamrock, because when he was first getting into wrestling, or not first getting into wrestling, but first getting into the Rock character, it was Shamrock that was the babyface to his heel that really helped him become that big heel that transformed into The Rock. He said he could have refused working with this guy, and then Shamrock working with The Rock, but he didn't. He called Ken a founding member of the UFC and the Attitude Era. He said he was extremely proud and thankful that Ken helped him out, and he has so many memories with him. Ken Shamrock was then interviewed by Matt Stryker for the Hall of Fame. He called this a journey, and he said that a lot of people helped him get here. He thanked Nelson Royal, who helped him get into professional wrestling. He thanked Vince McMahon for giving him an opportunity to enter the WWE, and at a time when wrestling was hot and you didn't bring in a lot of outsiders. He also thanked Bret Hart. He thanked The Rock for helping build his character, and so on and so forth. So the show starts, and we got Don Callis and Josh Matthews on commentary, as we get for the main pay-per-view shows. Usually on Impact Tuesdays, it's Josh Matthews and his wife, Madison Rayne. But when we get pay-per-views, Madison only calls the female matches, the knockout matches, and then Don is there for everything else with Josh. But the show opened up with the X Division six-man scramble, or six-person scramble. And here's the thing. Unless there was a change in the order of matches, they were teasing something big at the open of this show that we weren't expecting. But then they opened it with the X Division title match, and I didn't get any surprises there. It was Rohit Raju defending against TJP, Willie Mack, Jordan Grace, Chris Bay, and Trey Miguel. And this is nothing against Trey Miguel, but every time I see this guy, I think he could be Ricochet's little brother. They look similar, and they move similar. I don't know if he can do a backflip from a cross-legged sit-down position, but anyways, early on the story of this match was Rohit trying to run away every time someone would come after him. But in the pursuit, everyone ended up taking on each other instead. Now, when the match started, I go, scramble match. If this is anything like a WWE scramble match, you have to pin the current champion. The match is X amount of time long, and then we go from there. But it wasn't. It was just a normal 6-man match, but they called it a scramble match, even though that's not what a scramble match is. As we've seen in the past in WWE and in other companies, a scramble match is multiple people for 20 to 30 minutes. You pin whoever's the current champion. So say Rohit starts the match. Nobody else can become champion unless they pin him. Say Trey Miguel would have pinned him in the match within the time limit, then Trey's the new current champion, and then they have to pin him to win the title. It's why Brian Kendrick is a former WWE champion, technically. Anyways, this was just a one fall to a finish match, and it was a really fun match, a great way to open up the show. Rohit dodged everybody's onslaught early on. TJP, Bay, and Miguel started to face off against each other. Willie Mack and Miguel went at each other as well. In the same vein, Grace and Mack had a powerhouse sequence with shoulder blocks taking each other down. TJP had a spot where he locked 4 wrestlers into different submissions all at the same time, only for Rohit to break it up one by one. He took the advantage because none of them could defend themselves. Rohit Raju dominated the ring here for a couple of minutes. He worked on mostly Jordan Grace, and Impact's got a thing that's kind of like their go-to when it's women against men. It's just the women get their asses beat for a long time, then they get a comeback, and the comeback lasts a little but not long, and then they get beat down again. And that's what they did tonight with Jordan Grace. She got her ass beat a lot in this match. We saw it in the Sammy Callahan, Tessa Blanchard match. We saw it last year basically in this same match when it was for the X Division title and Tessa was in there with 5 guys. So I don't know what Impact's thing is about women just got to get their asses beat by the men and then they kind of get the shine and the comeback and then they get beat down again. I don't get that. Anyways. Like I said, Grace and Willie Mack worked together for a little bit actually. And then they went back on focusing Raju. They took turns striking him. We got everybody taking turns throwing each other out of the ring. And then there was a sequence where everybody hit dives, including Willie Mack with a nice flip dive over the top rope. I think Jordan Grace hit a flip dive off the top rope. The highlight being Chris Bay drop kicking Miguel, who was on TJP's shoulders and onto the crowd floor where the crowd would have been. We then got a Tower of Doom spot with Miguel on top, Bay and TJP in the middle, and Jordan Grace in a Tree of Woe spot. She then did a sit-up, grabbed Chris Bay and TJP, yanked them down by their trunks as they pulled Trey Miguel up for a superplex. Cool little spot. Then, well, Jordan was stuck in the Tree of Woe for a while until Raju came over, gave her one of them Alberto Del Rio foot stomps, and then finally pulled her off and had a little trouble because her leg was stuck. Also, I don't know if she was just playing it up or not, but from the start, from her entrance, Jordan Grace did not look happy. She looked pissed off throughout her entrance, except for when she did her pose and smiled. And throughout most of the match, she looked pissed, and I don't know why. At this point, after the Tree of Woe spot, everyone took turns hitting their signature moves, ending with TJP coming close to submitting Trey Miguel, if not for Jordan Grace breaking it up. Rohit then took the opportunity and took out Grace, took her to the floor, allowing TJP to hit a Mamba splash. And right before going for the pin, Raju jumped in and hit a knee on TJP, yanked or just pushed TJP out of the way, and pinned Miguel to retain the title. So Rohit Raju steals the victory from TJP and retains the title. So I assume maybe TJP can say, hey, I had the match won. You stole it from me. Give me a shot one-on-one. because Josh Matthews said on commentary, with Rohit Raju defeating 5 other competitors tonight, who's left? Who else is there in the X Division that can challenge him? And I think if you look at the people tonight, if any of them deserve another shot one-on-one, it would be TJP saying, I had the match won, you stole it from me. So then we got a skit. It was from the Rosemary Bravo wedding. And I hate when Impact does this stuff because whoever does the camera work doesn't know how to do the camera because it's always overlit, highly exposed and blown out, and rarely in focus. Most of this entire segment, everybody was out of focus and a little blurry. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? They decided that they were going to get married in the ring. Jacobs interrupted, telling them that everyone needs to get ready for the Call Your Shot gauntlet. We then see Rhino and Heath hyping each other up as we learned that, actually, we learned last Tuesday, Rhino's got to come out number 1 because he lost a match to Hernandez where loser starts number 1, winner gets to come out last. So Rhino opens up this match, and he opens it up with none other than Sean Daivari, and God save us, Josh Matthews plays up the Sean Daivari entrance here like it is the greatest surprise we've ever seen in the history of wrestling. He's like, oh my God, look who it is. It's Sean Daivari. We haven't seen him here in Impact Wrestling for so long, and he's wearing the same gear he had on last time we saw him, but he looks better. How was that even possible? And I'm like, Josh Matthews, shut the fuck up. Like I stated, the match started with Rhino and Sean Daivari. Basically, it's a Royal Rumble. Every, I want to say 60 seconds, maybe 90, a new person comes out. Where was I? The third person to come out was Larry D from Quadruple XL, or Triple XL, I mean. He went straight for Rhino, teaming up with Daivari. Crazy Steve came out at number 4. And number 5 was the other half of Triple XL, AC Romero. And he came in and started dominating with his tag team partner. Tennille Dashwood would come in at number 6. And she saw Triple XL in the ring and goes, nope, no thank you. I ain't getting in there. Nope. And, well, she sent Caleb with a K in the ring instead. Havoc would come out next, and she wasn't afraid to mix it up. She got in there with a couple of the bigger guys. She eliminated Caleb quickly. Tennille then got right in her way. Brian Myers would come out at number 8 and eliminated Crazy Steve with a judo toss over the rope. Swoggle would return to Impact here tonight, coming out at number 9. Along with Myers, he helped eliminate Daivari. Myers then betrayed his old pal Swoggle and eliminated him next. Tommy Dreamer would come out at number 10. He wore face paint in honor of Road Warrior Animal, which was cool. Actually had his hair cut like him. Weapons, and he had some weapons in his hands and went straight for Brian Myers, with whom he's actually been feuding with. Where was I? Swoggle was then eliminated, but still helped. Swoggle, who was eliminated, helped Dreamer with a little mini doomsday device on Myers. Alicia Edwards would come in next at 11. Before she can do anything, though, Myers eliminated Dreamer and Edwards. Kiera Hogan would come in at 12. She wrestled Havoc for a while. Myers pretended to take a picture with Tennille and then eliminated her instead. Number 13 was Taya Valkyrie. She came out with Rosemary and Bravo. Taya came in strong, taking down a lot of people. She chopped around D and Romero. She had running hip attack and knee attack. Follow Bob would come in at number 14. Havoc eliminated Hogan, and Taya eliminated Havoc, only to get eliminated by Triple XL. During the elimination of Hogan, she was tossed on top of Tasha Steelz, who was out there as her second, but Steelz went straight into a garbage can that Dreamer had brought out. No clue if she was hurt or not, but she hit pretty hard in that on that garbage can. Number 15 was then the big surprise of the night. It was James Storm making his return to Impact Wrestling. I had heard rumblings that he may have been there, but I wasn't like 100% sure. I just heard, hey, Storm may be in Nashville. Take that how you want. He took out both Triple XL, eliminated D first. Adam Thornstowe was number 16. Luster the Legend was number 17. Heath then came out at 18, eliminated AC Romero and Brian Myers. Heath was actually injured, though, tonight. He did some sort of a kick to one of the guys from Reno Scum. And when he came back down off the kick, he landed weird on his left foot and wasn't able to put any pressure on it ever since the landing. And he was finally eliminated. I forget who eliminated him. We'll get to it. I have it here somewhere. But he was eliminated. And doctors came out immediately to check on him. And I was told that Heath was taken to a local hospital to be further evaluated because, well, he couldn't put any pressure on that left foot. I was told it's possibly a foot or an ankle injury, but I didn't get much more details. Sammy Callahan would come out at number 19. And finally, as we learned last week, Hernandez came out at 20. Hernandez and Reno Scum have been kind of teaming up over the last couple of weeks, and they teamed up tonight against Fallah Bahh. There was a spot where the money fell to the floor, and Bahh would rather eliminate himself for the money than win this match. There's been a thing going on with Hernandez and Rhino, and they're doing little gags and stuff over this bet and money. And so Reno Scum's been trying to help Hernandez keep the money. Heath's been trying to help Rhino keep the money. It's a wacky thing they've been doing with both guys. It's whatever. Played into the match tonight. Hernandez then left the match as well in pursuit for his money and Fallah Bahh. Lawrence Stoll and Luster were eliminated next, leaving Callahan, Heath, Rhino, and James Storm as the final four. Callahan eliminated Storm and Heath, and it was down to 2. When this match gets down to 2, it becomes a singles match, one-on-one, pinfall submission to the finish. Callahan had a cactus special, but Rhino kicked out. Callahan went for a chair, but it was taken away by a ref, and with that distraction, Rhino hit him with a gore, pinned him, and won the match and the trophy. I thought the match was all right. There was some really cool, fun spots. Wasn't anything to go home about or anything. And it's interesting that we got the return of James Storm. I don't know if this means he's back with Impact for good or if it was just a one-time thing. And I don't know exactly what this means for the status of Heath, because I know Heath was told, if you don't win, you don't get a job here in Impact. But here's my predicament. Rhino wins. In winning the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, that means you can challenge for any championship you want, and that can be tag titles. Rhino can say, I want to challenge for the tag titles. I'm guaranteed this title shot. Right? So, in doing so, he can say, my partner's Heath. And so, kind of, they gotta give Heath the opportunity here. Maybe. Just saying. Gay Miller. I think it's how you say Gia Miller, Well, I read that way wrong. Interviewed the North about their upcoming tag title match. Josh Alexander said that the odds are against them, but they work best under pressure. And tonight, they're taking back the titles. Ethan Page said that they won't only win the titles back, but will also hurt someone. Both cut a fantastic promo here, and Ethan Page was on another freaking level. I like Ethan Page more and more every time I see him, and I already love Ethan Page. So next up, we got a video package recapping the EC3 Moose stuff. Then we got a cinematic match, which was a cinematic match within a match of a match between Moose and EC3. This was all right. This is the one thing I really didn't like that much, to be honest. Moose arrived at an underground ring where EC3 was beating up some geeks. EC3 had used this for some video packages in the past since being released from WWE. Moose and EC3 went face-to-face and went to blows. EC3 dominated for a couple of minutes until Moose dropped him with a low blow. Moose then busted him open on the exposed turnbuckle, and EC3 was gushing blood. Moose beat him up until he seemed to lose his mind, which somewhat helped him make a comeback. They brawled outside the ring with EC3 getting the better of Moose. EC3 started cutting a promo about how the TNA title for those who earn it, like all the champions in the past. And, well, Moose didn't earn it. As EC3 was about to hit his finisher, he had some flashbacks to his past that blocked him, allowing Moose to hit the lights out. Moose beat him up some more before EC3's minions started chanting for him. Right as EC3 told him to control his narrative, Moose finished him off with a title belt shot. Thought this was all right. It was my least favorite thing on the show. I thought it went a little longer than it needed to go. And where does it really go? Does it go to Moose now challenging for the actual world title? Or is he still going to be the TNA champion? I don't know. I really felt like EC3 needed this win, and it really didn't do anything to help or further Moose in the grander scheme of things. So then we got a recap of the Impact Hall of Fame induction with Ken Shamrock earlier. They showed The Rock's promo briefly and some footage of the ceremony before we went to Eddie Edwards against Ken Shamrock. Basically, they worked this match like a shoot, like an MMA fight. Shamrock early on caught Eddie with a knee out of nowhere and got his back and started beating him up. He got a rear naked choke and Eddie reversed it. He got to Shamrock's guard for a little bit and started beating down on him. Shamrock worked over Edwards for several minutes, switching between punching and kneeing him in the head, and kicking him as well. Edwards made a comeback and would try to use his strong style strikes to make a comeback, but Shamrock would easily cut him off again. Eventually, Edwards landed a desperation blue thunder bomb and started going after Shamrock's legs. Edwards landed a dive and a missile dropkick to finally turn things around. Right after he started chasing the Tiger Bomb, he went for a Tiger Bomb, but once he hit it, Shamrock reversed it into a pin, from a pin to a triangle hold. Shamrock reversed a backpack stunner into a rear naked. Edwards then hit a Boston knee party and locked in a single leg Boston crab for the submission tease, but couldn't keep the hold on. Callahan turned the lights out. Remember, he's the hacker guy. He can do stuff like that. And when they were back, Callahan and Edwards both had weapons, allowing Edwards to take out Sammy. But the distraction was just enough for Ken Shamrock to lock in the ankle lock from behind and make Eddie Edwards tap out. I thought this was good for a Shamrock match. Eddie Edwards has done a lot better in recent matches. So, again, this was another thing I didn't like too much, but it was all right. These guys looked like they were really trying to have a real fight and not go out there and have a pro wrestling match. So what's what I'm looking for? I appreciate that they tried to change things up with this match and make it so much different than everything else, kind of like they did with the EC3 Moose stuff. Then next up, we got a four-way tag team title match. Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin defending against Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. The Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. And the North, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. So the match started with the North actually taking out Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Shelley took a pile driver on the ramp. They teased that he had a stinger and Sabin had to compete by himself or relinquish the belt. So Sabin said, "I'll do it alone." Story of this match early on was Sabin being the legal man. No one would tag him out. And the Good Brothers worked over the North early on as well. Ace and Fulton took turns working over Sabin. Sabin stayed as the babyface in peril for a good portion of this match before heel teams finally started going after each other. It wasn't until Sabin got a desperation DDT on Fulton that he was able to drag himself to the Good Brothers corner and tag out. Carl Anderson got the hot tag and ran wild over Ace Austin. Gallows came in and hit an assisted neck breaker for a near fall. He followed this up with the biggest hoss fight that Gallows has had, and him and Fulton just beating the crap out of each other. I really liked this. Gallows then took out the North, but Sabin got the blind tag and ran wild on them and Anderson, who also got a blind tag a minute later. Sabin and Anderson had a good exchange here of strikes until Ace Austin got the blind tag. Sabin started taking everyone out around the ring. He hit a cradle shock for a 2 when Page broke it up. Page and Alexander came in, but couldn't quite put Sabin down, even with their finisher. Sabin had to rely on tagging Gallows and Anderson, though, to make sure he didn't get beat. The finish of the match, though, saw Anderson roll up Alexander, but Alexander kicked out, sending Anderson right into Page, who had the title belt in his hand, and hit Anderson with the belt and left him open for Alexander to pin him, pick up the victory, and regain, not retain, but regain the tag team titles. I really enjoyed this match. I like what they did with Chris Sabin being the babyface in peril, that none of the other teams wanted to help, that he had to really go it alone and sometimes tag himself out even when the other teams didn't want to tag in. Backstage, Rosemary and Havoc left. They said something about reviving Father James Mitchell. Oh, crap. Once they left, Johnny Bravo flipped out at Taya. Hints of either Taya betraying them or Bravo and Rosemary betraying Taya. Now, think about this. The last time we saw James Mitchell with Rosemary was when they wrote off Allie in Impact Wrestling. Now, why did they have to write off Allie? Because she was leaving. Whose contract is coming up at the end of the year? Taya Valkyrie. Could they be using James Mitchell yet again to write somebody off? Maybe write off Taya because she's going to leave when her contract's up? Just a prediction. It's not a spoiler. It's a prediction. Then they got a great video package for Kylie Ray and Deonna Purrazzo, hyping up a match we didn't get. So, Deonna Purrazzo and Kimber Lee come out for this match, championship match, knockouts title match. And they play Kylie Ray's music, and then she doesn't come out. Deonna takes the mic and goes, "I'm not surprised. Of course, I assumed she wasn't going to come out here. She's not woman enough to face me. She's afraid to face me. So I'm going to lay down the open challenge to any man or woman, backstage, anybody in the Knockouts locker room or the men's locker room to come out and challenge me for this title." And now would come Su Yung. Purrazzo pretended like she was terrified of Su Yung, and commentary sold it like nobody could ever be prepared for Su Yung. Now, what I was told was that Impact knew well in advance, emphasize on well in advance, that, Kylie wasn't going to be there. She wasn't there at all. It wasn't that she was there and couldn't wrestle. She wasn't there. And so for them to advertise this match all the way up till the match started, bullshit. If they knew she wasn't going to be there, say last night or this morning, I don't know exactly how well in advance they knew, but say they didn't know yesterday or this morning, they should have came on the pre-show and said, "Unfortunately, we have gotten word that Kylie Ray cannot compete tonight. What does that mean for the Knockouts Championship match tonight? Well, we have been told that Deonna Purrazzo, the champion, will address this in the ring when the time does come." That's what they could have done. Then she could have announced the open challenge and bada boom, go from there. So I did not like that they played us and made us think all the way till the match basically started that Kylie Ray was coming out. If you knew, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt of 5 hours before the show started, 4 hours before the show started. Tell us that. Don't advertise it as such if it's not as such. The other interesting thing with it being Su Yung is just a few weeks ago at Victory Road, Deonna Purrazzo successfully defended the title against Susie, the alter ego of Su Yung. Well, I don't know if that's going to play into things going forward because Su Yung did win the title here. So maybe they can say, well, she beat her as Susie, but couldn't beat her as Su Yung. They're 1-1. We need a rubber match. Is it going to be Su Yung? Is it going to be Susie defending against Deonna? Most likely Su Yung, since the Su Yung character was the one able to best the champion. But I thought this match was really, really good. Both women came out here and really tried to put on a great performance, as they did. Su Yung dominated early, and at one point dropped Purrazzo with a backbreaker on the apron. Purrazzo would try to take down Young with roll-ups, but couldn't keep her down. She wanted this match over quick. She was just like, get it over with. I don't want to fight Su Yung. Su Yung returned with some offense, palm strikes in every corner. Eventually, Purrazzo managed to block an... what did I write here? I did not write something correct. Purrazzo managed to block an... We're going to skip that. I don't even know what I wrote here. Deonna Purrazzo started working over the arm of Su Yung as well. That goes in with her finisher, the Fujiwara armbar. In what I saw, as a tribute to Sonata, she basically pretzel tied Su Yung up into the bottom ropes and then drop kicked her out of the ring. That's a Sonata thing. But she followed this up with a terrifica of German suplexes. Before she can get her finish on Su Yung, though, she got dropped with the DDT reversal, and they teased a 10 count out. Su Yung had a second wind over Purrazzo with palm strikes and rolling sentons off of the apron to the floor. Follow this up with the pedigree, but not even. That was enough to keep down Deonna Purrazzo. Yung then brought out her glove. Amongst the chaos of Yung trying to lock in her mandible claw, the ref took a bump, thus allowing Su Yung to get double-teamed as Kimber Lee came into the ring with a chair and helped Deonna Purrazzo Pillmanize the arm. But they didn't quite do it as Su Yung was able to move. Yung got the claw on Purrazzo. Poison missed on Lee, but Purrazzo escaped. Su Yung hit a stunner and a panic switch to win the match and the title. Yes, Su Yung is back and the Knockouts champion. So with Su Yung winning the title, it leads me to believe that they knew well in advance that Kylie Rae was not going to be in this match and made the decision to take the title off of Deonna Purrazzo and put it on Su Yung. I don't know if the plan was ever to put the title on Kylie Rae, but for them to switch the challengers and put the title on the new challenger, that could not have been a last-minute decision to say, you know what, we're going to fuck with everybody and put the title on Su Yung. I highly doubt that was a last-minute call. So I feel like this was something they knew for a while and made the decision to put the title on Su Yung and go forward there. I've also been told that don't be surprised if we don't see Kylie Rae for a while, as she's not expected at the upcoming tapings taking place tomorrow and I think Monday as well. We then got a great video package hyping up our main event. Eric Young defending the Impact World Championship against Rich Swan. Both guys here in the promos just were absolutely great. And, well, they worked an amazing match as well. Now, as I said in my preview, I didn't think going into this, these two guys were main event on our biggest show of the year guys. And that could have been because how they were used previously in WWE. Both guys were never used as more than mid-level guys. Eric Young never even really made it to the mid-level. But in Impact, both these guys have been used as top guys and used well. Eric Young has been amazing. Rich Swan has been great in his slow ascension. And these two went out there and had a match that they said, hey, we're going to show you why we should be main eventing. And they did. So early on, Eric Young tried to go for the injured leg of Rich Swan, but Swan would jump right over him and evade, dodge, dip, and roll. Finally, the momentum was enough for Eric Young to get at Rich Swan, though. They brawled a bit outside of the ring after Swan hit a dive, but it was here that Young tossed Swan into the apron. And this is when he took over. Then there was a spot where they teased Swan being injured and possibly injuring his neck, and then they played that up through most of the match. Young started going after the neck more than the leg. He had a top rope neck breaker, clubbered the neck, kicked him from behind, back of the head, and Swan kept fighting back, though. Every time he would take Swan down, Swan would get a little more momentum to him. Swan sold phenomenally in this match. And on commentary, Don Callis kept talking about how the neck injury, well, it's going to get worse the more that Eric Young works it over. Because the more Eric Young works it over, the more that the nerves are going to be hurt. The nerves are going to be not feeling good. And if Eric Young can hit that pile driver, it could be all over. Slowly but surely, Young started to get a little too cocky, thus starting to distract himself as he was shouting at the cameras and at Rich Swan, who in return started to get angry and powered up until he exploded into a furious strikes and a huge top rope takedown. Swan hit a big Damagiri, jumping leg scissor, and a frog splash combo for a near fall, but he too could not keep down his adversary. Young hit a falling elbow on the neck and right into a crossface, wrenching the neck of Rich Swan. But Swan made it to the ropes and caused the break. Swan and Young exchanged strikes in the middle of the ring until EY got another neckbreaker on Swan. Young then took down Swan, going for his injured ankle this time, Swan escaped a pile driver attempt and took down Young with a kick combo and a standing Phoenix splash for a 2. Young then had Swan in a tree of woe, but Swan got hold of Young's neck for leverage and swung him around into a cutter. The finish of the match then saw Swan hit his lethal injection and a Phoenix splash to pick up the victory and become the brand new Impact World Champion. I thought this match had amazing storytelling. These guys worked their asses off, like I said, to prove that they belonged in this main event. And after the match, all the babyfaces came out to celebrate with their new champion in Rich Swan. But with that, guys, I really had fun watching the show tonight. Again, like I stated, there were a few things I wasn't that big of a fan of. Oh, I got an itchy nose there. But overall, I liked the show, and if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 7 3/4. Not quite an 8, but it was not a 7 or 7.5 by any means of the imagination. If I had to rate it, I think I would go 7 3/4, almost an 8. Now with that, remember guys, you can be part of the show by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. I do have a couple of text messages here for you guys. This person says, do you think that Kylie Ray not being on the show had to do with COVID? From what I've been hearing, no. I don't think it was COVID related. This person says, I said, I didn't see the whole show. I'm going to finish it at some point, but I did see the main event match. Those guys were freaking killing it. And you're right. They weren't used correctly. They were basically used to get other people over, and WWE didn't care about them correctly. And I agree with that, as I stated earlier. This person says, do you think Impact is setting up Su Yung versus Kylie Ray with a switch tonight? I don't know, because I don't know how long Kylie Ray is going to be out. But it could play into something, because Kylie Ray and Susie, the alter ego of Su Yung, have been an item as far as like a tag team type deal. And I forgot to mention something about tag teams, so I'll mention it in a second. And so maybe they can play into the thing of Kylie Ray's been trying to teach Susie how to be a good girl, but then she had to tap into that dark side tonight to win the title, and maybe Kylie Ray doesn't like that and tries to help Su Yung find Susie again. I don't know. We'll see where it all leads to. Also, speaking of tag teams, they did announce tonight that the Knockouts tag team titles are coming back. So we'll see where that all leads to and which two women become the first new tag team champions. And this person here says, not wrestling related, but are you getting a PS5 next month? No. Don't got the money to do that. And plus, the only game I would want for PS5, Spider-Man Miles Morales, I can get for PS4, so I'm good with that. I'll wait till like next fall or something, or maybe I'll treat myself for my birthday in April and get a PS5 then. But unless I fall into some big stack of cash, I don't think I'm getting a PS5 anytime soon. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here tonight to talk about Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. And for some reason, Twitch doesn't like the word glory because I couldn't use it in the notification description and I couldn't use it into the description of this video. That's why it says BFG instead of Bound for Glory. But again, I want to say thank you for joining me here, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. Remember, if you missed any of the stuff here tonight or any of our previous reviews here on Twitch, you can check those out at youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also follow us on social media, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and follow us on Twitter at PWUnlimited. Now, don't forget, we will be live again tomorrow night right here on Twitch to talk about everything that goes down at WWE Hell in a Cell. And as of right now, we only know of 5 matches for Hell in a Cell. 5. So some of those matches may be going long, or we get some random announcements tomorrow for Hell in a Cell, but I will see you guys tomorrow for Hell in a Cell. Have a good night, guys.